Chapter 9. Seeds of Hope. Elijah left right before summer was beginning to come to an end. The air was still rich with the vibrant scent of life. Living things were still thick in the height of growth, everything adorned in shades of emerald green. It was another separation to endure, but this time I had mixed feelings about it. I felt relieved because I wouldn't have to endure those long philosophical circular talks that would somehow lead to him wanting me to allow him to do more in bed. It was a tired routine, and I was tired of dealing with it. I knew that I was the only one who could determine the right time for me to have sex. No one else could do that for me. I cared for him very much, but I would not miss the pressure, however light, to move forward sexually. Though his voice was silky smooth, his agenda, whether he fully understood it or not, was singular. He wanted to talk a virgin into having sex with him, and I was his prize because virgins were rare. I wasn't having it at all, period. On the other hand, he was good company when he wasn't trying to be my guru, and we were just being together without a goal to reach. He was a gentle man, and he did not ever push me physically. He knew what had happened to me was traumatic and respected my physical boundaries with due diligence. The last time that I saw him, we hugged goodbye. I felt deeply for him, and I would miss him. He left like the end of the day when you miss the sunset that you wanted to see because you were inside doing other things. There was 1 month remaining before the start of school when something amazing happened. I discovered that Voyage was coming to Frankfurt. I knew that I would see them, and I felt that it was destined to be. Michael the Irishman had gotten my attention and called up something within me from the depth of my soul again, churning and yearning to be free. It was a part of me that needed to be known and to see the light of day. Something inside was rising that needed expression. The next time that I was with my mother at the PX, I asked her if I could purchase a tiny gold cross on a golden chain to wear around my neck. She looked at me curiously and weighed her thoughts quickly. "Yes, if that's what you want, then of course you can have it." I felt hollow about Elijah leaving, but I didn't want to talk about it. Instead, I began digging up the graves inside of myself to excavate what was there and expose it to the light of truth through my writing. I began writing more and more furiously and prolifically in a cathartic effort to free myself from the bonds of illusion that tried to wrap themselves around me. I wanted to remember what was real, and it was deep. I refused the chains and dug deeper, calling up the dark places of myself, and once there, I found something very unexpected: hope. It was this hope that eventually led me to write one of the most revealing song lyrics that I had ever written. It was revealing because I tried desperately to hide my heart, and that was where hope lived, unseen by most. The seed had been planted during my dream, and it was growing stronger day by day, already a sapling with branches reaching up toward the sun. Having been planted in the rich soil of love and desperate heartache and desolation, it was a light in the darkness. It was too precious to reveal it to the world. It hurt too much. It felt like too much to bear that I might really have hope for this beautiful world that I lived in and the people that lived there with me. My heart, I tried so desperately to hide it, along with my softness, gentleness, and love. And yet no matter what I did, others seemed to see it in me, even when I tried to bury it with anger. I adopted a way of being with people that was carefree and lighthearted. I began a tradition of hugging my friends whenever I would see them, not sparing on sharing the depth of love that I didn't want people to see in me. I looked so tough on the outside, but the friends that I spent the most time with felt my heart and loved me for it. Maybe it was part of my charm that I could dress in boots, a blazer, tight jeans, all made up, and look 25, yet still have a heart of pure innocence. Though handy, it got me into trouble on more than one occasion. My hair had finally grown to a decent length, just grazing my shoulders, and I was able to style it in a way that framed my face well. It was a light brown color with dark blonde streaks from the summer sun. Joshua was thankfully back from his summer vacation, and it was my great pleasure to go to the bee bank and find him there, out for a run of all things. I gave him a big hug to welcome him back with my whole heart. There was a glow in his eyes as his heart blazed when he saw me, and it felt so good to be in his presence once again. Joshua and I talked a little while about how summer break was going for each of us. He told me all the benefits of working out and staying in shape, and said he would see me later at the Bundeshill. We began hanging out with our friends in groups before school started up again. That was when I met Celeste and Diana, 2 new transfers to FAHS from abroad. We all got along famously. They were the best of friends and had a special bond between them, but they seemed to like hanging out with me too. Tina was another new face, and we started hanging out around school in the parks together. There were times that I would end up in Grunenberg Park or at the bee bank, towing my notebooks from school because I was skipping a class, and I would read a select 1 or 2 poems to Celeste, Diana, or to Tina. Each time, I would get rave reviews, reading the darker ones that reflected my confusion with the world of illusion. I didn't understand why people could not seem to come together to help each other in the common goal of peace on earth. Yes, peace on earth. That may sound like a lofty goal to some, but to me, it was the only thing that mattered, and the way to find it was through music. Music was the doorway to a deeper understanding of oneself and the world, and I would often sit on the hill among friends and sing softly to the sounds of Led Zepp, Pink Floyd, or Queen. The discord of the world of frantic people would melt away, and a feeling of harmony and resonance would rise up out of the sounds that filled the air with love. I thought that everyone felt the love in that way because I did. Love, peace, unity, and harmony were all obtainable goals of the highest order in a world that was filled with war and the illusion of lack, based on fear, greed, and mistrust. The idea of people starving to death when there was food to spare was wasteful at best and shameful at worst. The idea of people killing each other over such a thing as this was, in my mind, utterly ridiculous, bordering on insanity. It seemed a better idea to pool our resources, take care of each other, and share with each other. Wasn't that what Jesus had taught? People should have the right to believe in a God comprised of love, regardless of religion, because all religion seemed to do was to divide the world and the people in it. There had to be a better way of doing things where all people were treated equally and fairly, based solely on the content of their hearts and souls, and not based on anything divisive. I was raised and passionately believed that all people were equal and not to look down on anyone. I embraced this inclusivity in all of my interactions. I approached everyone with an open mind, which is why I didn't appreciate those in positions of authority thinking that they were better than I was. They weren't, and I knew it. I was also not any better than they were. But when their behavior demanded an equal and opposite reaction from me of frustration and sometimes anger, I obliged. I really wanted to be understood for the content of my character, the strength of my heart, and the light of my soul. It was no less than I gave in return to anyone, from anywhere, at any time.